We've also been talking a lot recently about retirement. That's been a big topic of conversation, and we've got some solutions there. And that's problem solver segment. We've always got to have a solution. We can't give you a problem without having the solution to it. So we're going to go through a little bit of this right now. Obviously, we've talked about this before, but are you 100% sure you're going to have a great retirement, or do you have a little bit of doubt? Question 2. What if I could show you how to get out of debt in 9 years or less, including your mortgage, without spending any additional money than you're spending right now? Think that might be a problem and a solution right there in one. So we get a lot of people that we talk to on a regular basis that they've gotten, and I've done mortgage planning. So when I left Merrill Lynch many, many years ago, the reason I left is I realized that there were a lot more people with debt than had assets. And those people that had these debts, they really didn't have a place to go. No one was out there helping them with their debts. You can get a financial advisor to help you anytime you want with your assets. But who's helping with the debts? That wasn't the case. So what we started looking at and saying, okay, how do we help somebody in that area? Well, step 1 is what you're doing right now. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio. Knowledge becomes power only when you put it to use. So we've got all kinds of things out there, but are you putting them to use, right? We have knowledge about all sorts of things: sports, web design, cooking, cars. I'm good at eating. But to retire well, we really need to know the rules of money and how money works. That's a big issue right there. So what if in the next 5-10 minutes, I could teach you how to reduce the volume of interest you're paying to lenders on your mortgage, on your credit cards, on your student loans, on your auto payments? What if I could show you how to reduce the volume of interest you're paying to the lenders? What if I could show you how to get out of debt in 9 years or less? What if I can help improve your cash flow? What if help you decrease taxes? What if help you save for college? What if we could help you retire with tax-favored income? Do you think those would be something of interest? Continue listening. Don't change the channel. So the game of life, why does it feel like every step forward takes us 2 steps backwards? That's where we are right now, right? We get rid of one bill and 2 more pop up, or we pay down a credit card and all of a sudden life happens. And, something we have to take another route. American household, total assets at age 65, your lifetime, you're going to earn about $2 million average over the entire life. And the American dream says you're going to have about $60,000 at retirement. Do you think that's really the American dream? Do you think that's going to cover you in retirement? Certainly not the American dream after having $2 million pass through your hands. The average person only saves about 3% of their $2 million, right? That's just the stats in America. 2% is all we're saving. So that's where the 60,000 comes from. Pretty simple numbers, right? Step 2, you have to understand cash flow. When you track your money, you control it. Where are you spending? Look for ways to save money. Experience has taught us that by utilizing a spending planner and tracking money, you're able to find inefficient dollars that can make an important impact on your future. Now, you need to track the money, and then we'll show you how to reallocate it. Plan for the unexpected and the expected. Think about that concept as well. Emergency and emotional spending will happen along the way. Have you ever heard of the guy who went down to the car dealership to pick up a couple brochures and came home driving a new car? How did that happen? It happened because most spending is emotional. Have you ever heard of the woman who came home with new clothes because they were on sale? Spending is emotional. When I buy myself an Oreo cookie shake on the way home because I've had a hard day, that's emotional. Emotional spending, emotional eating. The significance is that if we don't realize spending is emotional, we won't allow for it, and this can create financial problems. Let's plan for it. How would you like to be the bank? Now, we've talked about this in our broadcast before, the bank of Ron, the bank of Josh, the bank of you. You put $10,000 in the bank is going to give you maybe a 1% interest if you're lucky. Walk into the bank the next day, borrow $10,000. Do you think they're going to lend it to you for 1%? Probably not. 24%, 18%, all different numbers, right? Think about that concept. Step 3 is debt. Minimize debt to create additional wealth. That's a biggie right there, right? So what does a typical family look like? Well, we've got one here. 37. He's 37. She's 35. They want to retire at age 65. 3 kids. Josh, you're one short. 3, 4, and 8. Are you saving for college? Most people have none. Main areas of interest. They want to increase their retirement income, reduce debt, get spending under control, college planning, increase savings. They're making $3,960 a month. Their $3,125 is what she makes a month. And they want to retire with $5,000 a month. Think about that. That's the family. That's all-American goal, right? Pretty simple stuff. So let's see what we do. We have savings and investments. We've got an emergency fund of $6,000, putting $25 a month in there. They've got a 401k, current value $36,500, putting $300 a month in that, getting 5% interest. The money in the emergency account, probably getting 0.25% at the bank, and not a pleasant picture. Current debt. So we're looking at medical debt, $2,400, credit card debt, $4,200, averaging 16%, furniture, $6,000, averaging 18% interest, autos, $13,300, 8% interest, mortgage, $154,000, average interest. So this is the blended household interest rate. That's all. That's the only important number, right? You can have a mortgage at 2%, 2.5%, 3%. What is your blended household interest rate? So we're looking at all this, and we put all these numbers into the fancy calculators, and we add up all these payments. We're looking at $2,177 a month. Think about that number. Remember that number. It's going to be a whopping number because that's a total of $180,198 if we add up all of those balances. So in order to look at what that really means, $380,000, because you have to add interest to all of that, right? And it's at least 30 years in debt. Going to pay almost $200,000 in interest. $200,000 in interest. Current retirement plan is $36,500, and their current retirement savings $300 a month. 5% annual interest rate, 25% income tax bracket. So we're looking at the retirement account at the end of the savings time, $409,000 before taxes, a whopping $306,000 after taxes. Not gonna. Do you think you can live on $306,000 for 20 years of retirement? 25 years of retirement? Probably not a good idea. So let's see what you can do if we go to the bank of Ron, the bank of Josh, the bank of you. Well, if you do this the right way, you can be free of all the lenders in 7.8 years, saving $122,739 in interest, freeing up $2,177 a month for retirement. That's over $1 million in 30 years. If you take that $2,177 and invest it the right way. Think about that concept. So right now you're on pace for $306,668 in retirement. Under my method, you've got $1,004,000. You tell me, what do you like better? It's your choice. Number 4, we're looking at, we've got to deal with taxes. Every year, it seems there's a new tax law. Of course, we hope that when you sit down with your tax advisor, your financial planner every year, they probably go over those rules changes with you to keep you informed of what's happening and how you need to adapt. They probably have you on a path already to get out of debt, right? One of the things we do is to keep track of the changes that are going on and make sure that we are on those so we can advise you how to handle your bank. That's the bank of Ron, the bank of Josh, the bank of you. Do you think taxes are going to be more or less when you're ready to retire? If we think taxes are going to be higher, is postponing taxes really a good idea? That's your 401k. You're just putting off paying taxes till later. When should we start that tax planning? So let's think about this. Think about this concept. If I had a business proposal for you, you front all the money, you take all the risk, you manage the business on a day-to-day basis, and 30 years from now, I'm going to tell you how much money you owe me. Does that sound like the plan that you really want? I'm going to suggest probably not, but that's the path you're on right now, right? Because the government's going to tell you how much they take later on. So if you've got an IRA and at age 45 you put in $5,000, you're basically looking at a $5,000 per year in IRA earning 10%. You look at the rule of 72, we know those funds are going to double every 7 years. What advantage do you get by utilizing an IRA? If you said a tax deduction, you're right. So at age 45, you might be able to deduct $1,250. Age 52, that deduction is $2,500 and so on. By age 66, you've saved $10,000 in taxes, right? Now, when you pull that money from your IRA at age 66, at 25% tax bracket, what do you owe the government? 10 grand. So you really haven't saved anything. Where's the tax savings? See what I'm saying? Your IRA is not saving you money. It's just delaying and giving you more risk. And risk is number 5. Don't lose a lifetime of work on this risk. What are your potential risks? Obviously, taxes, the market, inflation, emergencies, disability, lawsuits, fraud, outliving your money, death. So now we want to look at the big picture. Know where you're going and how to get there. That's the concept. So if I'm going to Florida or Maine, or if I'm staying here in California, I might take different routes to get there, right? I have to know where I'm going in order to know what route to take. Important to look at a big picture when you're trying to get out of debt and save for retirement. You need to have a blueprint, a plan, a roadmap to know how you're going to do it. And you need to know what your definition of retirement is. What age do you think you want to retire at? Do you have a specific plan in place to accomplish that? You might remember that our sample couple did not have a plan in place, and they couldn't tell when they were going to be out of debt. So, of course, they also couldn't tell what their retirement was going to look like. Sure would be good to know all those things, wouldn't it? One of the ways we help is by addressing 3 phases of retirement. 3 phases. So it's making the most out of every dollar, maximizing your dollar. Accumulation, use every dollar twice. I like that idea. And distribution, enjoy a worry-free retirement, putting that plan in place. That's the idea. Now, if you like these ideas, guess what? You got to give us a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, because all of these ideas can be done. Everything I just shared with you can be done by using the bank of you. Able to get out of debt 7.8 years instead of $199,959 in interest. How about paying $77,000 in interest? Savings of $122,000. Let me ask you this. What would you do with $122,739? Sure. I like the idea. Let's look at the $2,177 a month payment to debt. They're able to do that. We're going to grow this all to $1 million, $1,004,000 by doing absolutely nothing than what you're doing today. Does that make sense to you? If it does, now let me recap this a little bit. Step 1, knowledge. Step 2, improve your cash flow. Step 3, reduce debt. Step 4, reduce taxes. Step 5, minimize risk. And step 6 is understanding the big picture. You know what step 7 is? That's your decision. A goal without a plan, just a fantasy. So if you want to think about the potential of getting started, we got a real simple little tool for you. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com. Fill out the simple form. You can text RSR No Debt to 79564. You can get that same information there, rsrnodebt.com. Some real simple options for you. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial market.